Chicago Bears.
Woo!
Big story, guys. Chicago Bears are about to become the Indiana Bears or the Hammond Bears. Makes no sense, but it's happening. And when you see the decision, the reason why they're doing it, it's wild. By the way, here is the mayor when talked about this. Look what he does. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, keep a straight face here. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Right. And
yeah.
I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, and Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself. Look, I can't get into the psyche and the motivation of this organization. We're all grateful that, there's a winning team on the field. This weekend, obviously, is incredibly important, and there's going to be some pretty decent weather for us to be able to, clinch a playoff spot for the first time in a long time. So that's a good thing for our city and the morale of our city, and, as far as what their motivations are, I can't speak to that. And my position has been very clear. You all know that. There's not been a politician in this city that has worked as hard as I have.
He's going to keep going,
to ensure that the Bears have a package that keeps them, quite frankly, at the most unique, special property anywhere in our city.
This guy's almost as
Catch
smart
the
as
latest.
AOC.
Catch.
Wow. Listening to the Chicago mayor talk about capitalism and business is like listening to AOC talk about foreign policy. It's they're struggling for words. You don't know where to start, and they don't know what's up. Well, I'll tell you what else happened. What's going on here. The Chicago Bears are a business, ladies and gentlemen, and business in Chicago doesn't seem very good. And they're trying to build or rebuild a new stadium. They play at Soldier Field, which everyone, if you ask the fans of the Chicago Bears, and I know fans of the Bears, do you go up to Chicago to see your team once in a while? They say, yeah, but only September, October, only early games. Because if it's raining and it's windy or it's snowy, those November and early December games just terrible. It's just horrible because of the way the stadium is built. It's an old, hulking stadium. It's an icon and a landmark in Chicago. Both of those things are true. But the business of the Chicago Bears, Pat, you're an owner in a professional sports team. It's a business, and you want the best fan experience. You want the best experience for the team, and stadiums get modernized. Yankee Stadium, where you're an owner, it's the second Yankee Stadium. They rebuilt it to provide more services and experience and bigger bathrooms for the modern fan, all these things. And guess what? Illinois' House of Revenue and Finance Committee held a hearing just this past Thursday that would allow the Bears or any other developer of a large project to negotiate long-term property taxes with local. But that got canceled. By who? With pressure from the mayor's office. Oh, that guy. And we must agree on a bill that will move things forward, J.B. Pritzker said. They have been sitting there screwing around on this for 5 months. And then what did the Bears say, Pat? You know what? We're a business, and we've been negotiating with you guys for 5 months. We'd just like you to know we have a location, and we've got interest, and we've got something cooking right over here in northwest Indiana, so we may do it there. And then all of a sudden, they erupt because they're losing. It's like, listen, Illinois, listen, Chicago, you're about to take the L. The Bears aren't leaving. You're about to lose them. You're about to lose the Bears to Northwest Indiana. The Bears aren't leaving. You're about to take the L.
J.B. Pritzker and his Pritzker family are not having a good month. I know, Rob, you want to play this video, Rob?
Yes. J.B., while he was speaking, is going, why is my brother texting me like this?
Yeah.
Well, let me start with the fact that it was a surprise to us. The Bears actually, yesterday, we completed more than 3 hours, my team did, of discussions with the Bears. Very positive discussions. And indeed, mostly agreed on a bill that would move forward this morning. But they asked us not to move forward with it this morning because they said they wanted to tweak a couple of items in the bill, which were things that we were working with them on. And so to have a statement put out by the Bears, now they're saying to us that that statement is not some confirmation that they're moving to Indiana, but rather that Indiana had asked them to say that, you know, they're going to move forward with the negotiations in Indiana. But I have to say it's very disappointing to hear that they would put that statement out but not say anything about
Rob, you can stop it. By the way, when I say they're having a bad month, I mean, he's been having a bad year. His cousin Tom Pritzker
the L,
just stepped
Fatso.
down as chairman of the Hyatt because of his close relationship with Epstein, and now they're leaving after 105 years. But guys, and Tom, remember we talked about, you said J.B. Pritzker might be the presidential. I think the way that Chicago's been run, the way that Chirac, you're calling a place in your freaking city, Iraq, you let illegals come in, you're anti-cop, and then he's got his priorities wrong, Tom. He raised taxes and fees 50 times since he's been there. He spent nearly $3 billion on illegal immigrants. And then 1 million people have left Illinois since he became governor. This is it, guys. This is the proof in the pudding. This is, you get what you vote for. And this is it. They have no policies. They have no backbone. It's just Trump is evil. Trump is Hitler. But then when you look back and look at their city, you're like, hey, what are you guys doing? Absolutely nothing. And I really, dude, it's happening. They're definitely going to go to Indiana.
So I'm looking at this. I'm just pulling up numbers because to me it's purely numbers, right? When you break it down to see how much taxes they're going to be paying for where they're at. So assessed value. Commercial property in Cook County is assessed at 25% of market value, official rate. So if the land is valued at $200 million, assessed value is 25%, $50 million. Okay, great. So I'm going to come and say, guys, we would like to build it here, but give us a break. Like, we're bringing a lot of people to your city. Work with us. State equalizer factor, Illinois applies a multiplier, often 2.9 to 3 in Cook County, which means if AV assessed value is $50 million, what's the multiplier? 3 times 50 is $150 million. Okay, so
We'll
you
tax
understand?
you on that.
So then, roughly, the tax on that is 6 to 7% of equalized value, assessed value. So you got 6% of $150 million is what? $9 million. So initial estimated tax report is 16 to 20 million. They're looking at, okay, if I go to Hammond, I don't have to pay for this. They're working with me. They're sitting there saying, yeah, we'll work with you. You don't have to pay for this. So Indiana's approach could mean far lower annual payments than 50 to 75 million a year, estimated in a scenario where a stadium paid full Illinois property tax. What are you going to do? So if you're saving, say, $20 million a year, and you put $20 million in EBITDA, 20x, you know, what's 20 million times 20x? You're saving $400 million in valuation. Of course I'm going to a different place.
Yep.
It's just like
And by the way,
Of course.
This is just
what do you
like-
think I'm going to do?
this
And
is
by
just
the
like
way, Indiana also is giving them a much larger parcel to have more parking on it for the fans, access to 2 large highways, and public transportation. I'm not lobbying for Indiana. I'm just saying that's going to end up being a better fan experience in addition to a better business decision.
And you don't get shot and stabbed outside of the stadium. So
well, you
that's
pay extra for that.
the
on
best
season
part. Oh, you got
tickets.
to pay more for
No,
okay.
season tickets to
So
that
by
is
the way,
extra.
so what this tells you is, if you want to build a sports team, by the way, we were, Tom, see if you remember this. We were last year looking at Vol Conference. You know what's one of the places we looked at for Vol Conference? What is that one team that plays a college basketball team that plays in Chicago? It's
Loyola Marymount?
Not Loyola. It's another one.
Northwestern?
No, it's another one. But they have a basketball stadium that fits 12,000 people. Let me see which one. DePaul.
DePaul?
I think it was DePaul. It could have been DePaul. So we looked
Could have been
at-
Michael Jordan
I don't know
Stadium.
which one
But
it
we're
is,
gonna
but we
do it.
looked at it. And then while we're going through our person that gives us advice to what look at, the stadium looked beautiful. It would be a great arena. We'd fit, 10, 12,000 people. He says, but if you look at around the area, read this article. The article was the amount of crime that happens around that stadium.
Yeah.
By the way, once they said that, we didn't even fly out to look at the property.
Oh, wow.
If I'm taking my kids to go look at a game, safety is critical. Safety is critical. You got to think about the business. You got to think about, by the way, I asked the question, what is the drive from the old stadium, the Bears Stadium, to the new stadium in Hammond?
Soldier Field?
It is 22 to 27 miles by road, 30 to 40 minutes traffic. The people will drive.
Oh, yeah.
The
Are you
people
kidding
will
me?
Yeah,
drive.
They
But
do. They go to the casinos there.
Yeah, exactly.
They will drive.
Oh,
You
gambling.
just lost a massive. You lost Ken Griffin. You lost Citadel.
Yep.
You lost all of these other companies that left. And now you lose the Bears. By the way,
You lost the
maybe
Bears.
to the city of Chicago, losing the Bears is here.
Oh, yeah.
To the city of Chicago, you mean to tell me moving forward I have to say the Hammond Bears? That's an insult.
Are they still going to
be able
be
to say
called the
something like-
Chicago Bears?
Not
though, or no?
Chicago Bears. No,
The
no, they're-
Bears.
Wow.
It's the same thing as New York. People can leave. That's what
Yeah.
these socialist politicians don't understand.
Well, Pat-
you can quit your local government. Just move
Yeah.
your business. Adam?
Well, teams move all the time. This isn't nothing new for teams. I mean, Tom's favorite team is the LA Dodgers. They broke Brooklyn's heart when they moved in whatever year you were there doing their thing in the 50s.
Dodgers.
So
1955 when I
there
was
you go,
graduating
right
high
there.
school,
The,
yeah.
the Raiders, your other team, they've been between Vegas, LA, Oakland, who knows, Seattle, Supersonic, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. They became OKC. They just won a championship. Cleveland Browns. These things happen all the time for money, for stadiums, for bigger markets or better markets. But the Chicago Bears, if you know anything about like pop culture, the 1985 Bears was arguably the best football team of all time, right? Walter Payton, Refrigerator Perry, Jim McMahon. It became such an iconic team that SNL reenacted it with the super fans. Remember Chris Farley is like, the Bears, the Bears, the Bears. They're so iconic. By the way, fun fact, my mom's first cousin, Mark Tressman, was actually head coach of the Bears like 15 years ago. They didn't win because they haven't won anything. But got a beloved, the soft place in my heart for the Bears. But moving on to greener and more profitable pastures, and nothing is forever.
There you go. Well, for me, when I would go to Chicago, and if you have friends from Chicago, let me tell you, there's one conversation that's going to come up, and that's the Bears. Okay, you're going to talk about that. So this is a massive, massive loss, and I don't think it's going to slow down. And I think, by the way, if Mamdani continues going the direction he's going, some stuff could happen with that area as well. We haven't heard any of it yet.
Really?
We got a lot of other stories
You
to
think
cover.
the Knicks are going to move?
No, but I think there could
Oh.
be something happening.
The
there with
Knicks should
businesses and people
cancel
leaving.
Spike Lee.
One thing about Vinny that I love, he's becoming a great example to everybody around here, and that includes myself. I'm so proud of Vinny. Yesterday, we're having dinner with two of our friends, Brian and Tom, who were there with us, and we had dinner. You saw them earlier. You were speaking to them. And he says, how'd you guys meet Vinny? And I started telling the story about Vinny, and where he went to, where he's at right now. Life-changing what this man has turned into. Vinny, share with us what you got going on.
Pat, I love you and thank you. God literally saved me, and I'm here now because God. The story was saw Pat on Instagram, clicked on it, saw that he was a Syrian. I just lost 2 friends to fentanyl poisoning, not overdose because they didn't, and God got me to where I am right now. And for you guys that know, my biggest thing is faith over fear and having faith in Jesus Christ. Last week, James Vanderbeek had that message where he said, I was facing death nose to nose, and he looked so comfortable and so happy. We forgot that, I don't know if you guys remember, on February 15th was the anniversary of 2015 when the ISIS soldiers, whatever, terrorists, whatever you want to call them, were in Libya, and they captured 20 Christian construction workers, put them down. Rob has a photo in orange jumpsuits, put knives to their heads, and they said, if you guys right now convert to Islam, we won't behead you. And these 20, I knew this was going to happen, 20 construction workers said, this is what they said. They said, no, I love you, Jesus Christ. And they cut all their heads off. I know I talk about faith over fear. That right there is, these are construction workers, Pat. They're not priests. They're not the Pope. They're not, these are just regular guys that all sat their hands tied behind their back and they said, nope, we believe in Jesus Christ. That is the epitome of faith over fear. God bless them. God rest their souls. And that is it. Because Jesus said, by the way, John chapter 14:6 said what, Tom? I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. Nobody gets to me except through the Father, except through me, through Jesus Christ. Period.
Absolutely. People were in fear at that time. There was early persecution going on. If you were a Jewish person at that time and you were now listening to Jesus, the Jewish leaders of the time were like, this rabbi here is a heretic. He's saying things that are way out of bounds, and persecution started, and they were scared. They were scared. And that same passage where he says, I am the way, right before that, he says to Thomas, he said, do not let your hearts be troubled. I am with you. And it takes strength. It takes strength in knowing where eternity is to sit there and to as Christ did on the cross, just to give it up and saying, look, I am not going to betray my Savior. I am not going to be the heretic on this side. And it says, take my life if God allows you to take it. Because if you do it, God is only permitting it, not causing it.
I love it, Tom.
Yeah.
I love it. Vinny.
So yeah, it's just, and that was it. And I just want to make sure I'm the way and the truth, the life. No one gets to the Father through me. And it's just that right there is the epitome of faith over fear. And I just can't. It's almost as if every week something else is happening that's proving it and showing it. And I pray that I have that much faith if it ever comes down to it. And I pray that I get it.
Got it. Awesome. And by the way, I love seeing the faith over fear hats, shirts, everything that you got. If you feel the same way, go to vtmerch.com. Place an order for yourself, your family, and your friends. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.